Welcome to another episode of Mike's Money Picks. Today on the podcast, we are breaking down MACtion yet again. It is week 2 of the 2025 MACtion season, aka week 12 of the regular college football season, and we're going to be breaking down the Tuesday night MACtion slate, telling what you can expect from each of these two games, as well as who needs to be in or out of your DFS lineups, as well as any leans if you are looking to bet player props or sides and totals for these two games. You guys know me. I love MACtions. We're going to break it down. We're going to tell you everything you need to know in order to hopefully win some money here on this Tuesday night slate. Now, while you're here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you can be with us for the rest of our college football content all the rest of the season long, as well as all of our college basketball content. We've actually got a video for the Tuesday night slate out now. It's a great slate of college basketball games. If you like college football DFS, I highly suggest you try it out. It's an absolute blast. Also, programming note, I am probably not going to be recording Wednesday night. So I'm probably going to be getting out the Saturday main slate video Tuesday night, and the live show is probably going to be moved to Friday night. But if you are subscribed to the channel, you will know all of that goes down no matter what. All right. Like I said, we got two great games to break down. So let's go ahead and dive right into some action. All right, game number 1 of the night is between Kent State and Akron. Little Battle of Ohio going on here. Wait a minute, Kent is in Ohio, right? I think that's right. Yeah, I think I'm right on that. Anyway, Akron is 6.5-point favorites with a game total of 46.5 points, meaning that the implied total is about 26-20 in favor of Akron. Kent State, not a great defense, y'all. They're 127th nationally in rushing yards allowed, 125th in passing yards allowed. Akron's not a whole lot better. They're 124th in passing yards allowed, 103rd in rushing yards allowed. So what you have here is a battle of two not so great defenses, which generally is better for DFS than if you had two good offenses going up against two good defenses. There can be some fantasy scoring here. So let's talk about the Kent side. Quarterback, they've got Drew DeShields. He's okay. Like, I think if you're ranking quarterbacks on this slate, he is very clearly quarterback number 4. When you look at what he has done in conference games, it has been 2 over 21 DraftKings points and 3 under 12 DraftKings points. No in between. He's been efficient. He takes care of the football, but he's not producing a whole lot through the air. This is a team that wants to win by running the football. And so how will they do that here on this slate? Well, they've got 2 running backs that they're giving pretty solid workloads to. Jordan Newman, very much held in check in the Ball State game. 13 carries for 14 yards. Gavin Garcia in that game, 12 carries for 59 yards. Now, let's just be honest here. Like, let's do some basic math. You had 2 running backs that had a 50-50 split, basically the same number of carries, 13 to 12. One of them gained what the other one had in yardage times 5. So Garcia, to me, looks like the better play heading into this week, but this is MACtion. This is a team that doesn't score a lot of points to begin with. So who's to say? But on paper, Garcia looks like the better play. At the wide receiver position, we talked about this last week. This continues to be a little bit of a frustrating conundrum with Kent State that they're not really targeting one receiver more than the rest. Wayne Harris still leads the team in total targets. Last week, he went 5 for 87 against Ball State. Was a good play last week. But the highest fantasy scorer on the team is Cade Wolford, the guy who is the big play threat. Has 3 games this season over 15 DraftKings points. Was held in check against Ball State. So it begs the question, do you go with the security of a guy like Harris, who really just showed his upside last week? Or do you go for the upside for a guy like Wolford? I think it depends on what kind of lineup you're building, what kind of prospects you have. I think if you're expecting this game to shoot out, I think Wolford would probably be the guy you'd want because, Wolford can score quick touchdowns. If you're expecting this game to be like a back and forth affair where Kent trails, then to me that kind of benefits Harris because you would see increasing passing volume going the way of the guy that is getting all the volume. And then also they do have Deshaun Martin. He is second on the team in targets to Harris, actually has more than Wolford, but hasn't seen the fantasy scoring that Wolford hasn't seen the volume that Harris has. So he's kind of just stuck there in the middle. To me, I think the guy I want is going to be Harris here on this slate. Now let's talk about Akron. So side note, I do think MACtion should come with like a recap, like a TV drama or comedy would, where it starts out the week and it's like previously on MACtion. Because Akron absolutely demolished UMass last week. If you were not paying attention, Akron looked outstanding. Or was it just UMass being bad? Either way, Ben Finley is Akron's quarterback. This is the team on the slate that's going to have the highest passing volume. They're ranked 44th nationally in pass rate. And Finley, to his credit, has had a really good season so far when he's going up against other MAC teams. 4 out of his 5 MAC games has been over 20 DraftKings points. Only one of them was under 20, and that was Miami, Ohio. That's one of the best defenses in the MAC, so I can forgive that. Now, he is $7,600. He does have very minimal rushing upside, but he has scored a rushing touchdown in each of the last 2 weeks. So I don't think he's the type of guy that can break a slate, but we've seen what he does against bad defenses. He generally puts up about 20 to 25 DraftKings points against bad defenses, and Kent's a bad defense. So it feels pretty safe that you can pencil in Ben Finley for 20 to 25 DraftKings points here on this slate. At the running back position, we mentioned this last week, and we were dead on. Jordan Gant, in games that Akron wins this season, has been outstanding. And guess what? Akron's a 6.5-point favorite here in this game. Who would have thought, by the way, that on Veterans Day, Akron will be fighting to get to bowl eligibility in a bowl that they're not even allowed to play in? It's crazy, right? College football for you. Gant has been good in wins. This is projected to be a win for Akron. Don't make this complicated. He's one of the top running back plays on the slate, bar none. The wide receiver position, Akron has started to get a little more condensed. That is what we like to see. There are 4 guys really that you need to know about, and one of them might not even play. Miles Walker. Miles Walker didn't play last week. He's 4th on the team in targets. If he doesn't play, that should just condense the target tree a little more. Same deal with Newell and Adams, who did not play last week. That's good news if you're looking to play the top Akron receivers, and they're quite cheap on DraftKings. Kyan Mason, to me, is the most appealing one of all of them. He had 4 catches, 38 yards, and a touchdown last week. 3 straight games with a touchdown. He is the team's target leader on the season. He's the guy I would probably want to play. I think he's the most safest play at $4,500 on DraftKings. Israel Polk is also not a bad option. He only trails Mason in targets by 350 to 47. He only had 1 catch last week, which is a little bit of a disappointment, but it was a touchdown. And so he's had 4 straight games over 8 DraftKings points, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but on a MACtion slate with a receiver at $4,800, that ain't bad. So I do think Polk is a guy I'm going to have interest in. And then Marcel Williams has really heated up in recent weeks. 6 catches for 74 against Buffalo, 4 for 104 against UMass last week. I think that if you're looking for a consistent, solid option, Mason is your guy. If you're looking for upside, I think Marcel Williams is your guy. But either way, as long as Newell, Walker, and Adams are out, you can feel pretty confident that the Akron passing game is going to be pretty condensed to Polk, Mason, and Williams. All right, that does it for game number 1. Let's take a quick breather, and then we're going to move on to game number 2. Now, before we continue, I do want to mention there are places where you can get more information from me. First off, you can follow me on Twitter at Mike's Money Picks. It's where I tweet out all updates for the show, as well as I'm more than happy to answer any questions if you reach out to me on there. I'm also in the Fantasy Corner Discord. Link is in the description on YouTube as well as on the audio feed. The Fantasy Corner Discord is a community of a bunch of really good, really smart people who play DFS for a lot of different sports. Always in there, especially the college football chat. Talking lineups, talking strategies, and talking injury news as well. There's a lot of people who are really good at deep diving that stuff, and it's really helpful to have a crowdsource on that. So if you're looking for people to talk lineups and strategy with, or just sweat it out once the games start, Fantasy Corner Discord is the place for you. And then also, if you want to know who actually makes my college football DFS lineups, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/Mike's Money Picks. Every single college football DFS slate, I have my core plays, as well as a write-up why they're my core plays. So you're not only getting the plays, but you're getting the information. Why? I am not going to be like other people and just guarantee, hey, play these guys, win thousands of dollars. It ain't like that. It's not that easy. Anyone who promises that is lying to you. But what I can promise is that you're going to get well thought out, well-researched information from somebody who knows what they're talking about with college football. All right, game number 2 is going to be between Ohio and Western Michigan. Now, this is very clearly the 2 better teams on the slate, but the bad news is it's like the 2 best defenses on the slate as well. For instance, Ohio, pretty balanced, 60th in passing yards allowed, 60th in rushing yards allowed. They play a pretty tough schedule, though. Western Michigan, 11th in passing yards allowed, 33rd in rushing yards allowed. So this is a really, really good defense by the metrics in Western Michigan. Like I said, they played a little easier schedule than Ohio has, but 2 good defenses. Both these teams are also going to look to run the football. Both of them rank outside the top 110 in pass rate nationally. Ohio had a very slow start last week against Miami, came alive in the second half, able to win that game 24-20. Parker Navarro was a little bit of a disappointment. It was his lowest game all season against any team not named Ohio State. So I kind of think that the 13.2 he put up last week is kind of more of the aberration than the norm. I do think that with his dual threat abilities, he's going to be able to get back in the good graces and put up a pretty good DraftKings score. Even though the Western Michigan defense is tough, I do think you have to project him as the number one quarterback on this slate, simply because his dual threat abilities is something that no one else on this slate has. At the running back position, I do have good news for this Ohio offense. If you're looking to target them on DraftKings, they have a workhorse running back. Shea Bangura. I never know how to pronounce his name. I always watch MACtion games on mute because my kids are asleep. Shea Bangura, over 30 DraftKings points, or over 27 DraftKings points in 3 straight games, over 30 in 2 of the last 3. It's really impressive, y'all. He's really good in the MAC. He played in the MAC a few seasons ago, transferred out, and now he's back. And he's been good. He's just been really good in MAC play for Ohio. Top running back play on the slate, no questions asked. And then backup running back Duncan Brune. Look, if you're looking for like this leverage angle where maybe Bangura doesn't get home, or maybe Bangura's like gets injured, or gets pulled for a fumble or something, Brune is not bad. He has 81 carries on the season. He's really excelled in games that have gotten out of hand, like in 2 garbage time games. He has 29 and 31 DraftKings points. Will that be the case here? Probably not against this Western Michigan defense. But if you're playing GPPs, you're playing for leverage. Like, that's the way you could get it, would be by playing Brune instead of Bangura. For Ohio, I mentioned this last week, you can pretty much largely just cross off everybody but 2 pass catchers for this team. And pass catcher number 1 will be Chase Hendricks, who was a big-time letdown like Parker Navarro was last week. But that looks to be the exception, not the norm. Heading into that game, he had 3 straight games over 21 DraftKings points, and 3 of his previous 5 over 23 DraftKings points. Like, this is a guy who puts up DraftKings points in bunches because of how often he's targeted. He has 85 total targets on the season. Next highest on the slate is at 50. So if you do the basic math here, the next highest receiver on the slate is 5,000, right? So it would mean that if you were to think about it on a per target basis, he should be about 8,500, 50 to 85. Pretty easy math there. I'm a high school math teacher, but I feel like that's pretty simple math. 50 to 5,000, 85 to 8,500, right? And he's only 7,000. So theoretically, he's underpriced. I think he's a great play. Probably the top wide receiver play on the slate just from a pure points perspective. Now, if you want to start talking points per dollar, that's when we can start, debating it. But pure point perspective, I think Ohio has the top quarterback, running back, wide receiver on the slate. Rodney Harris II is the other receiver you need to consider. He's really come on strong in recent weeks. 11 combined catches, 195 total yards and a touchdown. Good for 19 and 20 DraftKings points. He's $5,000. You got to consider him. If you're looking to get different, maybe the tight end Mason Williams, 25 targets on the season. Maybe Dom Dorwart, maybe $3,400. 2 catches last week, but really, this is a passing offense that goes through Hendricks first and then Harris second, and you don't really need to concern yourself with anybody else. Now, on the Western Michigan side, it's an offense that we have not seen very often this season. We saw them back in the early season against Michigan State on a Thursday night and against Illinois on, I don't know what time of day that was, but we saw them against Illinois. And pretty much, you look at this offense's success, they've had a lot of success against every team that is on their schedule that wasn't in the Big Ten. And Brock Lowry is a big reason why. Brock Lowry is probably the best points per dollar quarterback play on this slate. When you look at what he's done in MACtion play, over 18 DraftKings points in every single game, with a peak of 37, dual threat upside, double-digit carries in every single MAC game. I think he's probably the best points per dollar play on the slate. Now, granted, when I build out, I'm going to have some Navarro, I'm going to have some Lowry, I'm going to have some Finley. I don't know which one I'm going to have the most of, but I think right now, as I'm kind of projecting it out, when you consider matchup, when you consider profile for the 3 quarterbacks, I kind of like Lowry the best. That might not be the case by the time lock rolls around, by the time I look at ownership, by the time I look at the official projections. But right now, Lowry's looking real good to me. At the running back position, we've been talking about this name for a few years now, and he's still there. It's Jalen Buckley at Western Michigan. He has been the number 1 back this season. They got rid of a lot of the competition that he had for carries. The downside is now they're getting a lot of carries for the quarterback, Brock Lowry, which we hadn't had to deal with in previous seasons. So unfortunately for Buckley, he's still seeing less of a workload than he probably should be, but he's a workhorse running back, $5,100. Not a bad matchup. If you're looking, sorry, y'all, I'm tired. If you're looking for other backup running backs, Miles and Matele, both are going to see carries in this game. Like they might not see a whole lot, but they do get involved. Just straight up, they're going to see carries. If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Matele, but I don't know. I think you'd have to be playing a lot of lineups to talk me into that. At the wide receiver position, Western Michigan does have a very clear wide receiver one. It is Talik Williams. If that name sounds familiar, he was a dog at Georgia State last year, and now he's in the MAC. Back-to-back games over 18 DraftKings points. Pretty solid. 5 catches in 3 straight games. He's probably the best points per dollar wide receiver play on the slate, just if I had to guess. Like I said, I think Hendricks is probably the best overall play. Williams is probably the best point per dollar play. He's going to project really well at that salary of $4,400, which means he's probably going to be popular. So keep that in mind. After that, you got Avion Chenault, who has 30 targets on the season, which Talik had 50. So that's a 40% drop for a $600 drop in price. Yeah, Talik Williams projects really well this week. Avion Chenault, not a bad option, $3,800. I think if you're looking for cheap receivers, you could do much worse because not only is he involved in the offense consistently on a weekly basis at $3,800, but you'd be getting leverage on Talik Williams, which, like I said, is as good as Williams projects. I always have to remind myself, one of the hardest things to do in DFS is to, if you're playing GPPs, which I do, not just play all the players that project well, all the players that look really good, because all those players are going to be very highly owned. And so Williams is going to be very highly owned. And so you have to start thinking about, okay, if Williams doesn't hit, what could I gain by fading him? Well, the obvious beneficiary would be Avion Chenault. The other two that you could target would be both B names. Balin Brooks, consistently targeted all season long, 20 receptions, no touchdowns, or the tight end, Blake Bosma. Like I said, double B names. Consistently targeted all season long, no touchdowns. They're pretty cheap too. Then you've also got Georgia Tech transfer Christian Leary, had 2 catches last week at Central Michigan. And then you've also got a guy that's played, I think, 2 or 3 years now, Malik Dudon for Western Michigan. Never had more than 1 catch in a game this season, though. But this would be the team that I would probably take those punt shots on because you will be getting the leverage on Williams, because I think Williams probably going to be one of the highest owned plays. Like literally, if I just started building right now, went Lowry, Bangura, Gant, Hendricks, Talik Williams, that gives me 5,300 left for 3 players. Yeah, I could find a way to still make that a 2 quarterback lineup. Yeah, that's going to be a popular start. Just get it out there. All right. Anyway, that is going to do it here for this week's episode. Or I shouldn't say this week's episode, because we're going to be hopefully back for tomorrow's MACtion as well, the Wednesday night slate. If you're subscribed, you will know when we drop that content. And also, if this video helped you out in any way, please hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. Please rate and review if you're listening on audio. Cannot stress enough how much it helps me out when you guys do that, and I really do appreciate it. November is a big time of growth for my channel because of the fact that college football is kind of, like reaching its apex, and the fact that college basketball is back. So, those likes, the comments, the shares, like all that helps grow the number of subscribers, grow the community, and just help make this channel a little bigger. So I really do appreciate it. Anyway, that's going to do it here for this slate, y'all. Hopefully you guys enjoy MACtion as much as I do. I know I'm going to be looking forward to watching college football on a Tuesday night. Like literally last week, like I had one of the MACtion games on, and my wife walked in the room. I was holding my son, my 6-month-old son, in my arms, and my wife walked in the room and she's like, it's MACtion season. Like she knew that the reason college football is on a Tuesday night is because it is MACtion season. I love it. I'm here for it, and I hope you guys are as well. Hope you guys are able to get some information here in this video to win some money here on this MACtion slate. Best of luck to you guys on this Tuesday night slate. Thank you guys for watching and listening to this point, and I will see you guys next time.